from Harare. This is what Newsplus has lined up for you this hour. The ZANU-PF conference has entered day 3 today, with First Secretary President Emmerson Mnangagwa charting the way forward with a clear message: discipline, productivity and unity in pursuit of development. We give you his address from the party's Central Committee meeting earlier today. Some of the Zimbabweans who died in a tragic road accident in South Africa's Limpopo province have been identified. We have the details right here on Newsplus. The future of Zimbabwe's economy takes center stage in Victoria Falls, where captains of industry and government officials are meeting for the 11th edition of the CEO Africa Annual Roundtable. Among the key highlights is a debate on the country's de-dollarization path. Forget about the Warriors' poor display against Lesotho. The domestic premiership is back this weekend with some exciting action. Thank you very much for joining us. We begin with the ZANU-PF Annual National People's Conference, which entered day 3, and President Emmerson Mnangagwa today chaired the party's 128th Central Committee meeting in Harare, setting the tone for what's expected when he joins delegates in Mutare on Friday. Faith Nyode reports.
In Harare, a meeting of direction, reflection and resolve. President Emmerson Mnangagwa today chaired the 128th ordinary session of the ZANU-PF Central Committee ahead of his expected arrival in Mutare, where the party's National People's Conference is already underway. The meeting, the last before the president engages with delegates in Mutare, was all about charting the course forward with a clear message: discipline, productivity and unity in pursuit of development.
Improving the lives of the people at grassroots level must be at the core of all our discussions. The overall recommendations and resolutions should be aimed at propelling our country forward.
In his address, the party's first secretary celebrated progress in the agriculture sector, noting the ongoing bumper wheat harvest and preparations for the 2025-26 summer cropping season. He called on party structures to ensure equitable access to inputs, saying no farmer and no community should be left behind.
Preparations by our farmers for the upcoming season should be speeded up. The Central Committee, working with other structures of the party, should ensure that no one and no place is left behind with regards access to these inputs that for everybody.
The meeting also reviewed the party's work during the year, from economic resilience and industrialization efforts to grassroots development programs that have continued despite sanctions. The president said standing committees of the Central Committee will soon resume regular sessions to tighten coordination between the party and government.
We will be resuscitating the meetings of the standing committees of the Central Committee. This should guarantee regular feedback and guidance by the Central Committee to various party departments as well as sectors of government.
The party's first secretary also handed over the remaining 20 vehicles to members of the Central Committee, a gesture symbolizing mobility, but more importantly, service. He reminded the leadership that the vehicles belong to the party and must be used to strengthen structures and serve communities across the country.
Vehicles have now been distributed to members of the Central Committee. As per my previous exhortation, these are for the benefit of the people and the party as a whole.
As the conference in Mutare continues, the message from Harare is a call for sharper strategies and people-centered action as ZANU-PF looks to strengthen its policies for the year ahead. For ZTN Prime, I'm Faith Nyaude in Harare.
Now, in other news, the Department of Civil Protection, working in coordination with the Zimbabwean and Malawian embassies, with the support of South African authorities and relatives of the 43 people who died in a bus accident in Limpopo province, has managed to identify 30 Zimbabweans and 6 Malawians among the deceased. And as of Tuesday, 17 families had arrived at Tshilidzini Hospital to identify their loved ones, and of course with the process still continuing. Now, according to officials, repatriation processes have begun, with fully state-funded funeral benefits having been declared by President Emmerson Mnangagwa in his condolence message. Our Bay Bridge correspondent Thupeyo Mleya gives us the latest update.
The process of identifying victims of Sunday's deadly South African bus crash has revealed that 30 Zimbabweans and 6 Malawians are among the 43 people who perished when the bus they were traveling in plunged off the mountain in Limpopo province. According to the Civil Protection Unit, the identification exercise is being carried out by Zimbabwean and Malawian officials working closely with South African authorities and bereaved families. The Deputy Director for Response and Coordination in the CPU, Ms. Veronica Bare, confirmed that one bus left Harare today carrying 12 relatives of the deceased to assist with the ongoing identification process in Limpopo province. She said they will pick up some relatives in Masvingo and Bedbridge who are already waiting for them, while others who are based in South Africa have already identified the victims. She said Dove's Funeral Services has been engaged to ferry the remains of the deceased back home once all post-mortem and documentation processes have been completed. The Ministry of Local Government spokesperson, Mr. Gabriel Masura, said government will continue providing state assistance to affected families until all the deceased have been laid to rest. Earlier in the day, the Limpopo Provincial Government spokesperson, Mr. Ndave Ramakwera, confirmed that the identification process was still underway and was being handled with great care. He said the identification process will include fingerprint verification and photographs to assist the families.
Still on the tragic bus disaster, the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructural Development has begun public consultations on the proposed Road Accident Fund Bill, a policy framework that seeks to compensate victims of road traffic accidents across Zimbabwe. Now, the consultations, which started in Bulawayo, have received widespread support, with participants calling for inclusivity and improved emergency response systems.
The Road Accident Fund Bill is designed to create a financial safety net for victims of road crashes, a move that has been described by many as long overdue. Managing Director, Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe, Munesum Awafa, said the alarming statistics show that Zimbabwe experiences a road traffic crash every 15 minutes, resulting in over 35,000 accidents annually. This bill will help victims access timely assistance and ensure accountability in compensation. He added that the initiative aligns with international best practices and reflects the government's commitment to improving road safety and welfare for all citizens.
While we as a nation are consistently plagued with a number of lives that are lost as a result of road accidents on a regular basis, Government of Zimbabwe is committed to ensuring the existence of a robust framework that addresses all the pillars of a sustainable road traffic safety management regime. This regime incorporates a coordinated post-crash management framework, primarily within the structures of the Road Accident Fund.
Some stakeholders, however, raised questions about the bill's coverage and the country's readiness to handle the expected volumes of claims.
My question is, in terms of evacuation of people, has this law taken into account the need to have well-equipped ambulances for emergency services in the country?
Other stakeholders called for the fund to be designed in line with Zimbabwe's unique context rather than replicating foreign models. Paul Makiwa, Secretary General of the Zimbabwe Passenger Association, said the new law should fully protect public transport users and ensure adequate compensation in the event of accidents.
Since this bill is meant for us members of the public to benefit, remember, as we are all here, we are all passengers. There is no one who is not a passenger from the president up to the lowest person, so we are the passengers. Therefore, the most person who is supposed to benefit from this bill is us passengers.
Combi operators were also represented at the meeting, and they have called for special benefits for public transport crews, highlighting that they are also at high risk of accidents given the time they spend on the country's roads. Other stakeholders called for prompt processing of payouts to allow accident victims to get proper medical attention without worrying about funds.
The most important time for the victim of accident is between the evacuation from the scene, treatment and rehabilitation. From this bill, it talks about investigation, about the claim, and then the claim procedure. But what I want to know is at what point is the benefits paid? Because this person needs urgent treatment. We're saying this fund is for emergency purposes.
Responding to concerns, Advocate Jameson Mokaratiwa assured participants that all the feedback will be consolidated and submitted to government for review.
Deliberations are done at ministerial level. The ministry can gather stakeholders like has been done here from various angles or various sectors. They discuss on the need for a solution to a problem.
As consultations continue across the country, stakeholders say the Road Accident Fund could mark a turning point in protecting victims and improving Zimbabwe's road safety system. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chuma in Bulawayo.
Newsplus will be back shortly after this break, and we'll give you a story on the future of Zimbabwe's economy.
Good evening and welcome to the greatest show on earth. This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come. Let's go! Lights, camera, action. Put your mind to it, live the life that you
Wherever you are, whatever your reason, it's on SuperSport all season long. Reconnect and stay connected to DSTV Compact and get the best football on us.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play. The one story where you can't get out of your head.
Wakatarisa munhu so Erika like where you are sitting. Ndozongokona bata face so pasina munhu.
Wakasiya music yako yo afro chakuti ndo music manje no Zimbabwe.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so
Shona kana kuti chindevere kana mumwe mutaure muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe ndiwo rupawo rwako ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erika Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
Hello again, you're watching Newsplus with me, Wazanai Sansole. Now, still on our top stories, the future of Zimbabwe's economy takes center stage in Victoria Falls, where captains of industry and government officials are meeting for the 11th edition of the CEO Africa Annual Roundtable. The three-day conference, running under the theme Future Ready Africa, connecting ideas, creating value, is expected to set the tone for dialogue on growth, investment and economic transformation. Now, among the key highlights will be a debate on Zimbabwe's de-dollarization path, whether the country should continue its transition or extend the multi-currency framework. Our business reporter, Melissa Chatikobo, has more.
As the country consolidates economic stability, business leaders are expected to engage policymakers on how to sustain confidence in the ZIG while maintaining competitiveness in regional trade. The conference brings together senior executives, investors, and policymakers from across Africa to exchange ideas on building resilient economies and strengthening partnerships. Authorities say the platform offers an opportunity to accelerate public-private partnerships through constructive dialogue.
Let us work together more concertedly and explore new models of partnership that broaden our industrial base, drive production and productivity, while creating opportunities for growth in our economy. Our strength is our diversity, in our resilience, and the hard work ethic. Let us therefore seize this moment.
The private sector is expected to weigh in, outlining priorities for boosting production and attracting investment. Executives say such engagements are vital in aligning fiscal policy with business realities as Zimbabwe deepens its economic reforms.
We want to ensure that we have put in place mechanisms as a round table to put robust policy proposals that will ensure that government is advised appropriately and private sector does speak into what makes them make the decision to put private money into the projects. I think that's the biggest outcome.
Over the next 3 days, delegates will deliberate on fiscal and structural reforms, including the de-dollarization roadmap, as part of broader discussions aimed at making Zimbabwe's economy future-ready.
We are going to be tackling the hardcore issues, and the center on that is the de-dollarization roadmap. We will be putting to test the sentiment by CEOs surrounding these major shifts in the currency reforms in this country. We'll also be touching on issues to do with artificial intelligence, which is something that is taking the market by a storm.
As the conference unfolds, focus turns to how dialogue between government and business will shape policies that sustain growth and investment confidence. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Melissa Chatkobo in Victoria Falls.
Moving on to real estate, the Estate Agents Council of Zimbabwe, which is the regulatory authority for the registration of estate agents, is calling for tougher penalties for fraudulent estate agents. And stakeholders in the real estate industry are working to raise awareness to reduce the number of people who fall victim to cunning and dishonest agents, thus undermining the reputation of the real estate sector. Tafaras Wochiwe reports.
The Ministry of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, in collaboration with the Real Estate Institute of Zimbabwe, the Estate Agency Council and the Valuers Council of Zimbabwe, aim to foster a fair property market, consumer protection and promote professional integrity.
Established under the Estate Agents Act, regulates the conduct of estate agents and ensures that only qualified and ethical practitioners operate in the market. So through its licensing and disciplinary functions, it protects consumers from exploitation and malpractice.
The Estate Agency Council, EAC, urges its parent ministry, the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs, to implement punitive measures against fraudulent agents who are undermining public trust as individuals lose their hard-earned money.
Bogus property transactions to be equated to the level of people who steal cattle. You know that people who steal cattle are now being imprisoned for quite a long period of time. And we think that fraudulent property transactions are nowhere near inferior to other illegal operations such as cattle theft.
Although penalties and sentences may assist in deterring law violators, the EAC states that it will persist with awareness initiatives, informing the public about the characteristics of a legitimate and trustworthy real estate agent.
We have always encouraged members of the public to phone the Estate Agents Council or even to come here to the Estate Agents Council to verify the authenticity of a professional that they may want to engage for the purpose of putting together transactions.
EAC will continue its collaboration with the Zimbabwe Republic Police, who have previously conducted several blitz operations to suppress the unwanted fraudulent agents. The Real Estate Institute of Zimbabwe is focused on training more competent real estate agents, fostering trust and competence, as it is a key government partner in educating, professional training, and public interest advocacy.
As Real Estate Institute of Zimbabwe, we offer training, education to those that want to participate in the real estate industry, to be estate agents, to be valuers, and so on. So that is one of the arms of the Real Estate Institute of Zimbabwe that is trying to curb continuous existence of bogus.
Zimbabwe will commemorate the National Real Estate Day on the 17th of October this year, running under the theme Affordable Housing, a right for every Zimbabwean, where every citizen can live in a decent, affordable, and legally secure home. Tavaras Buchiwe for ZTN Prime.
Now, still on real estate and specific focus on Bulawayo, a young woman is overcoming obstacles in Zimbabwe's real estate industry, and despite financial challenges forcing her to drop out of school, she has persevered. She has advanced to the position of sales agent at an international real estate firm. Now, Tafaras Wochwe gives us more on how her story is both inspirational and a testament to resilience, hard work, and tenacity.
In a world where glass ceilings still exist, some women are not just breaking them, they are building new ones. Born in Redcliffe, Michelle Lewis is a determined young woman in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe, who is proving that ambition and grit can defy even the toughest odds. Michelle's journey into the real estate sector didn't come on a silver platter. She was forced out of school for 3 years due to financial constraints. Then, her dream of working in real estate became a reality. As any mother would do, she tried homeschooling Michelle, but to no avail. She enrolled at a college in Bulawayo, where she passed her O-levels. Efforts to enroll Michelle for A-levels hit a snag, this time with no resolve. She resorted to making ends meet.
So I decided to get a job as a receptionist at Red Properties. I must have been 19, turning 20 years old. I was at reception for about a year. After that, I started doing the marketing for Red Properties. I tried to learn as much as I could. I used to do online courses, all the free ones, just to learn as much as I could about real estate.
Michelle later enrolled in free online real estate courses before she got a job as a receptionist at a local real estate firm. A humble beginning she embraced with purpose. From answering phones, she rose through the ranks, becoming a marketer, before finally landing a big break as a sales agent with international real estate firm Chas Everett.
I've now moved to Chas Everett. I started at Chas Everett the 1st of July, and yeah, it's been amazing. Working for an international company is very different. There's a lot more growth, a lot more opportunity, and yeah, I'm ready to grab it and just keep pushing on and going for it.
Chas Everett Zimbabwe's operations are setting a new standard. In Bulawayo, 75% of the team is made up of women. In Harare, women make up 90% of the staff, a step towards gender inclusivity in a male-dominated industry.
If you look at women, if you look after women, you've actually fed a whole nation. And you find that in the real estate sector, women have actually broken barriers. In the whole industry, it's actually more inclined to see more females in the industry compared to men. And the nice thing as well is because real estate, you can actually balance and determine how much you want to earn. They can actually then balance the home, balance the children whilst they're going to school, and actually balance their work as well.
A new chapter for Zimbabwe's women, written not in boardrooms, but in brave footsteps like Michelle's. From school dropout to deal closer, Michelle is more than just a success story. She is a symbol of what determination, resilience, and a little opportunity can achieve. Tafaras Buchiwe for ZTN Prime.
The Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, ZAC, continued nationwide public consultations in Marondera today towards drafting of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy 2 document. This follows its initial strategic documents, which were implemented by His Excellency President E.D. Mnangagwa in 2020 and ran up to 2024. Now, the consultations are being carried out nationwide in a move aimed at coming up with a comprehensive anti-graft document with robust strategic policies and strategies to fight corruption.
Today we are in Marsh East, carrying out some consultations regarding the crafting of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy 2. As you may be aware that we had National Anti-Corruption Strategy 1, that was launched by His Excellency Dr. Idi Mnangagwa on 11 July 2020. The implementation ended in 2024. This is the reason why we now need to come up with NACS 2. That being the case, we realize that we need the input from the public because we cannot do it alone. As you may be aware that the strategy is going to inform the country on which areas and who should take lead in the fight against corruption. We have involved all the sectors of our economy, all citizens, the academia, media, the civil society, and everyone else in the private sector.
Meanwhile, attendees applauded the anti-graft body for the consultative approach to the public in documenting this crucial strategy, which they believe will go a long way in curbing corruption.
We are very excited as Mashonal and the East, having been, called to participate in a, consultative meeting where the idea is to come up with a NACS 2, a strategic document that seeks to reduce corruption activities, something that is going to take us a long way in making sure that at least our society, having been bedeviled by corruption and so on, would be in a better state. We are the foot soldiers in the trenches, and indeed this approach, the consultative approach, is going to take us a long way in terms of reducing corruption, and that grain of ownership in terms of the final document is going to really be there for us.
252 female youths graduated from the National Youth Service Program after completing a 6-month intensive training program at Vumba Youth Training Center. Now, Youth Empowerment Development and Vocational Training Minister Tinoda Machakere reiterated that the recent graduates should fully embrace the values of patriotism and of discipline and community service as they return to their respective communities. And speaking at the pass-out parade held on Monday at Vumba Youth Training Center, Minister Machakere said the nation is looking up to the young women to be ambassadors of the positive change, of resilience, as well as leadership.
The certificates that our graduates will receive today are not mere handouts. They are a testament to hard work, resilience, and discipline. Their rigorous training was comprehensive, encompassing physical education, national orientation, and civic education. Through roads run, sports, and drills, they built physical fitness and instilled discipline. Through lessons in entrepreneurship, leadership, and Zimbabwean history, they fortified their minds and character, grounding themselves in the vital values of.
Observers praise Cameroon's orderly presidential vote. That story is still to come in our global updates.
Welcome wherever you are. And Marmouche, room to shoot. He well and truly did. It's an opportunity. What a shot to Seno! Tarkovsky! Scott's got to be careful. Bukayo Saka! But it's Salah, and that one delivers!
Never miss a play, home or away. Stream all Premier League games live on Showmax.
Harare, tune into the beat. Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Welcome back. You're tuned to Newsplus this Wednesday evening right here on ZTN Prime. Now on to our global stories. The African Union and the Economic Community of Central African States have praised Cameroon's civic-mindedness and calm during the presidential election. The vote took place on Sunday, October 12th, and observers recommended the timely distribution of voter cards, the proper counting of any uncollected cards at the close of polling, and their sealing and forwarding to the authorities in accordance with the Electoral Code to preserve peace.
Salue le déroulement pacifique et ordonné du scrutin. L'élection s'est également déroulée dans une large mesure conformément aux normes régionales, continentales et internationales. S'agissant du processus toujours en cours, la mission exhorte tous les acteurs, parties prenantes politiques, à préserver la paix et à s'abstenir de toute action susceptible à compromettre la quiétude, l'intégrité du processus électoral.
Nigerians have hailed the country's $32.8 million data settlement with Meta Platforms, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, as a landmark moment that marks the first time an African nation has compelled a global tech giant to comply with its data protection laws. Meta was accused of using Nigerian users' data for behavioral advertising without explicit consent, for also processing personal data of non-users, for failing to file mandatory compliance audits, and transferring user data abroad without authorization. Now, Meta had initially challenged the fine, but has now agreed to an out-of-court settlement.
Nigeria has gone a step beyond just having a law, but has also put in place appropriate frameworks that can enable effective implementation of the data protection framework. And then we are holding data controllers accountable globally as well. Those that are domiciled outside of the country, they are being held accountable in Nigeria for the way they process the data of data subjects in Nigeria.
In other global updates, crowds welcomed the return of freed Palestinian prisoners and detainees with tears of joy as buses carrying their loved ones entered the war-torn territory. Now, a new prisoner exchange took place on Monday under the latest ceasefire deal between Hamas and Israel. Hamas handed over 20 Israeli captives alive, along with several bodies. And dozens of Palestinian prisoners were released and returned to Gaza to reunite with their families after years of imprisonment.
حاجة الصفقة وحلت أمورنا والحمد لله هنا بين أهلنا وناسنا. شعور الحياة بين الأهل والناس بيختلف عن شعور الوحدة اللي كان في السجن اللي تحت صرخات السجان، تحت عذاب السجان كانوا ينولونا إياه. بس الحمد لله يعني الحمد لله ربنا خلص الحرب. أهل غزة كلهم بخير وسلام، وشفت أمي بخير وشفت أبوي وأهلي وأخواتي كلهم بخير. هذا أكبر غنيمة لي بالنسبة.
The International Committee of the Red Cross, as a neutral intermediary in the release of hostages in Gaza, has worked closely with both parties to the conflict to reunite families. The Red Cross has built trust through decades of continuous communication with Hamas and Israel.
In the midst of all the horror that we have seen in Gaza, these are moments of hope and humanity that are incredibly important. These operations are also very complex to manage and to implement, and one has to imagine that our colleagues on the ground had to prepare from a security point of view, from a logistic point of view, and from a coordination point of view, both with Israelis and with Hamas, in order for this to work. And we're very satisfied that the operations this week went by that allowed this release of the 20 hostages and over 1,800 Palestinian prisoners that were transferred back either to the West Bank or to the Gaza Strip by the ICRC. It is the neutral intermediary dimension of our work.
Meanwhile, a United Nations official has said after 2 years of active conflict, reconstruction in Gaza faces huge funding gaps and severe humanitarian challenges. For reconstruction in the Gaza Strip, a process that requires clearing millions of tons of rubble, will come to an estimated cost of $70 billion. Now, the timeline for reconstruction is likely to take at least a decade.
Just to give you an estimate of the challenges that the reconstruction efforts will cost, it will the RDNA, which was jointly done by the UN, the European Union, and the World Bank, estimate that about $70 billion will be required for the reconstruction of Gaza. That means that also in the next 3 years, about $20 billion will be required.
Coming up in business shortly, Zimtrade eyes $6.5 billion trade target.
Pardon? Look up. Whoa! Okay. I'm Ollie J, your host and captain for this technological voyage.
They say that curiosity killed the cat. Well, we say curiosity makes you swipe.
Okay, there's a real big one. Oh, okay.
Okay, take the elevator.
Okay, that one came out of...
Look up. From some tech-tastic adventures to some out-of-this-world Zimbabwean inventions to the scientifically mind-boggling, we show it all.
What we're looking at is 2 charging ports to charge the vehicle.
And things get electric. Catch Swipe right here on ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294.
Harare. Tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Zimbabwe continues to strengthen its export promotion drive as the country pushes to grow its global trade footprint. Now, Zimtrade, in partnership with Afreximbank, hosted the annual buyers seminar in Bulawayo, bringing together local exporters and international buyers from across the globe. This event, held under the theme "Rooted Locally, Growing Globally," aims to reconnect Zimbabwean producers with global markets while also driving inclusive and sustainable economic growth.
From Zambia and Angola to Egypt and Rwanda, buyers from across Africa engaged directly with local producers in agriculture, manufacturing, and processed goods. Zimtrade CEO Alan Majuru says the buyers seminar is about creating meaningful connections between Zimbabwean suppliers and international buyers.
For validated exports, I think our exports have grown by around 18%, which is something that is very good. And at this rate, if all things being equal, our exports by the end of the year are going to be at around 9.1 billion, which is above the target of 8.1 billion that we're targeting. So at least we're on the right track, and we cannot do this without the buyers.
International buyers commended Zimbabwe's strong manufacturing base and quality products.
That many people do not realize that we come in to look for in Zimbabwe. It is the technical skills that sit here. We are blessed to have this country in Africa. There's a lot of technical skills that other countries.
For exporters, the event provided opportunities to learn about export standards and regional trade trends.
According to the United Nations report that was done in 2019, only 15% of intra-African trade happens between different African countries. Most of the trade that happens is with the European market. And I think this is the right platform.
From Bulawayo, the country's industrial hub, local businesses are proving that Zimbabwean products can stand tall on the global stage.
Exports are not just a source of foreign currency. They are a reflection of competitiveness, innovation, and productivity. For Zimbabwe to grow, we must move beyond being primarily an exporter of raw commodities. We must embrace value addition.
The Buyers Seminar forms part of Zimbabwe Exporters Week, a flagship program aimed at boosting trade, creating jobs, and driving Vision 2030 goals through value-added exports. For the TN Prime, I'm Antile Chuma in Bulawayo.
Zimbabwe's leather industry is stepping into the digital era as local designers receive training and advanced computer-aided design technologies. Now, this program aims to boost productivity, creativity and competitiveness in one of the country's most promising value chains. Andy Lichma has more details.
It's a hands-on lesson in technology and creativity. 10 leather designers from across Zimbabwe learning how to turn imagination into innovation. The training in computer-aided design, or simply CAD, is expected to transform how local artisans produce, prototype, and market leather goods, from shoes to handbags and everything in between. The government says it's more than just a workshop, it's being seen as a key step towards achieving Vision 2030.
As your businesses grow, you will create much needed employment for your fellow citizens. And with that growth comes a profound civic duty. A successful business is one that contributes to the nation's well-being.
Through stakeholder partnerships, Provincial Affairs and Devolution Minister for Bulawayo Province Judith Ncube said the sector has capacity to drive inclusive industrialization. The Leather Institute of Zimbabwe is on the cusp of installing the latest 3D software, Shoemaster, which will allow full virtual prototyping and advanced design.
This opens a big gap where we were stuck here in Zimbabwe, but now we can go everywhere around the world to design shoes. Standards that were mainly kept out of reach for us, now within reach.
Preston Viswamo from the Africa Leather and Leather Products Institute said the Leather Satellite Design Studio, established with support from the European Union under the Commissary Camp program, received 150,000 euros in funding for state-of-the-art equipment to help small to medium enterprises compete globally.
The small enterprises to work together through the clustering intervention so that they can share their core efficiencies and be able to put up production levels that should be able to meet the market demand. So this really is the trajectory that we are pushing, which we believe should be able to help our small enterprises to penetrate the market and be able to take a share of the market.
The training also has a strong empowerment focus, with the Zimbabwe Leather Development Council highlighting the initiative aligns with the Zimbabwe leather sector strategy.
This training was for the lead designers. We were doing patterns from scratch. We made foam patterns, and then we made a standard pattern of each of these. This is a school shoe. This is an army boot and an executive shoe. This is another school shoe in black. So we're using CAD/CAM system.
As Zimbabwe's leather clusters embrace digital tools, the goal is clear: precision, creativity, and competitiveness on a global scale. From the traditional workshop to the digital studio, the country's artisans are crafting a new story of innovation and resilience. For ZTN Prime, I'm Antili Chuma in Bulawayo.
Stay tuned to Newsplus for some entertainment and sports news still to come.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play.
The one story where you can't get out of your head. So Erika, like where you're sitting. No better face so personal.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so Shona kana kuti chindevere kana mumwe mutaure muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe ndiwo rupawo rwako ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erika Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
In a world where music transcends boundaries, where rhythm and melody unite the hearts of people, comes a show that celebrates the power of music like never before. Get ready to dive into a sonic journey that will leave you mesmerized and yearning for more. Welcome to the captivating world of Z Vibes. Vibe to it, baby.
And now on to the latest in the world of entertainment. Internationally acclaimed actress and playwright known for her roles in Black Panther and The Walking Dead, Danai Gurira, has committed to bring her expertise back to her Zimbabwean roots. After 13 years of intensive private training and development, Almasi Arts Trust, founded by Danai Gurira, emerges onto Zimbabwe's cultural stage with an unprecedented showcase of African theatrical excellence with the Africa Voices Now Festival. This inaugural festival embodies Almasi's core mission of bringing the African narrative to the global stage. The curtains are rising on a new era for African storytelling, and the stage is set for celebration of theatre, culture, and creativity. Danai Gurira, an internationally acclaimed actress and playwright known for her roles in Black Panther and The Walking Dead, has committed to nurturing Zimbabwean local talent and bringing African stories to the world.
Well, this is Almasi Collaborative Arts, which is an organization I co-founded some 13 years ago. And so we have been operating quietly, building up artists with skills. So it really was about how do we build the foundation of our sector through real skill transference. We're called collaborative because we work a lot in the United States, where I am also based, and bring a lot of Americans to Zimbabwe. We transfer Zimbabweans to America for education and opportunity. But now it's time to show the new works we've been developing. Process we've been working on. How do you develop a play? How do you get it to the point where it's ready for the people and where it can become a part of dramatic literature? This is Africa Voices Now. Africa Voices Now is our inaugural New Works Festival.
Gurira's commitment to giving back to her community by collaborating and creating opportunities for Zimbabwean creatives is evident in one of her projects, Africa Voices Now Festival.
I don't know a perfect Broadway premiere. You're going to see beautiful works in process. These writers are still finding and developing. That's what you must do for a play. You're never just done always. You can be done, but it takes time. It takes feeling it out with an audience. It takes a few more productions. So this is new works of Zimbabwe in process, and we guarantee you a great time.
Running from October 18 to November 7, 2025 at the ZANU-PF Little Theatre, the Africa Voices Now Festival promises to captivate audiences with 3 plays by emerging Zimbabwean playwrights.
Can We Talk is a story by Batsrai Chigama. It's a hybrid of a choreo poem and a Greek tragedy. The story centers around on 3 sisters who are brought together by a family tragedy.
Other plays will be The Return by Rudom Tangadura and These Humans Are Sick by Tatenda Muchikambisi. Africa Voices Now is more than just a festival. It's a celebration of Africa Voices, a showcase of Zimbabwe's vibrant theatrical talent, and a testament of how the power of storytelling connects everyone. Wazanai Sansole, ZTN Prime. Now coming up on Newsplus is sport.
Dental checkups, experiments, games.
The mixture is making bubbles and the bubbles have changed color. Our balloon has been filled by carbon dioxide.
We have it all right here on Happy Sprouts. Catch us exclusively on ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J. All right.
Put your seatbelt on.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting, and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play.
The one story where you can't get out of your head. Wakatarisa munhu so Erika like where you are sitting. Ndozongokona bata face so pasina munhu.
Wakasiya music yako iyo afro chakuti ndo music manje yemuZimbabwe.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so Shona kana kuti Chindevere kana mumwe mutaure muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe. Ndiwo rupawo rwako. Ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erika Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
Here's what's happening in the world of sport. The PSL's new forces collide on Saturday as Scotland and Moors ignite the title race at Rufaro Stadium. The 2 league debutants meet in the run-in with everything to play for, with both teams still in contention for the league title. Moors are chasing leaders Scotland and are bracing for a big battle. More in the following report.
The last time that they met was all about drawing first blood and claiming their bragging rights. Back in May, Moors hosted Scotland at Ngoni Stadium and won 1-0 in one of the biggest clashes of the season. On Saturday, they meet again, this time with even higher stakes as both gun for the league title in their debut PSL seasons. Scotland hold the advantage with a 3-point lead at the top, 4 ahead of third place Moors. Scotland have managed 3 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss in their last 5 matches, while Moors have gone 4 wins and a draw over the same period. In a weekend that could very well determine the destiny of the 2025 championship, the pressure and excitement have reached fever pitch. Moors coach Lloyd Mtasa has seen his side rise to the occasion and at times buckle under pressure throughout the season. As the big game draws closer, he emphasizes the need to keep focus on the bigger picture.
The boys, they know what it is, and like any other, they've been preparing well, like any other match, knowing that probably we're getting closer to the finishing line. When you are on a high, you would want to keep the momentum, and it gives them the zeal to keep going.
The rivalry between the PSL new boys has also coincided with below par showings of the traditional giants, and this has increased the interest around the fixture. For Mutasa though, it is about playing the game and not the occasion, even as they face their biggest rivals.
I think every game that we have played as an institution, we employed to do well at every given game. So every game that we play for the badge. I think as an institution, we've always said let's try as much as we can to win all the matches that we play, and see at the end of the day where those matches will take us to.
The last meeting between the two sides was punctuated by a boisterous home crowd in Norton, and as the Panthers head to Rufaro on Saturday as their away side, Mtasa has one final message to their 12th men.
The fans to keep coming to the stadium. They really key to us. They've been with us from the onset, and we're saying together we are strong. We need them. They should come and cheer their team, and as long as they are there, we will try as much as we can to please them, because we play for them.
Matchday 31 of the PSL explodes on Saturday with all the top 6 teams facing each other, while the bottom half of the table descends into a fierce relegation scrap as we edge closer to the season's climax.
Maningi Youth Soccer Academy has been formally dismissed from the Zimbabwe Women's Premier Soccer League after member clubs unanimously rejected their request to rejoin the competition. They had earlier withdrawn from the league, citing lack of financial capacity, alleged bullying and abuse from bigger clubs, belittlement from ZIFA, as well as mismanagement of CAF and FIFA grants. Now, after securing sponsorship from Walter Magaya, the club applied for readmission, and the PSL Executive Board took the matter to Congress, which is made up of the member clubs, since Maningi violated Section 16 and 69 of the league constitution, which govern club withdrawals. Now, of the 15 member clubs, 11 clubs managed to meet and form a quorum which unanimously voted against readmission. Right, now on to an update on squash. The Mashonaland Junior Squash season held their league prize-giving ceremony last week after recording a number of positives this year in the expansion and sustainability of the sport. The league also celebrated a number of milestones, including securing sponsorship for key tournaments in a year which recorded a revived interest in the sport. Now, the Zimbabwe national season wraps up next month with some of the key achievements for the year, including improved player rankings, more international exposure for players and academies, as well as outreach programs to grow the sport.
There were quite a number of events which took place. At the beginning of the year, we had Mashonaland Junior Squash. This was just a selection tournament to seed kids into the Zim Championship, which obviously happened in Bulawayo. It was a good thing seeing new talent coming through, and round of applause to the junior committee for putting all those things together. Then we had different clubs doing club championship.
And that's a wrap on Wednesday's edition of Newsplus. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Wadzanai Sansole. Pleasant viewing.